And another one. Wow. Oh, you know what that is. You gotta know what that is. It's either Terror Facer. Yes! Look at that! It's the original Rise! Oh my god! Hello fellow kaiju fans, and welcome to the most positive Ultraman DECKER video you're ever gonna get from me. December is probably the greatest month of Ultraman since 2020. Just so many amazing episodes came out from probably the two best directors working on Ultraman right now, Taguchi and Sujimoto. These episodes were just fantastic, so let's get right into talking about it. The first episode is episode 20, and you know what? It's habit on this channel to give the extreme scores right at the beginning of the review. So episode 20 gets a 10 out of 10. There you go, because yeah, of course it's gonna get a 10 out of 10. The episode was just absolutely amazing. They gave Taguchi full control, and it shows. Pretty much everyone noticed. I really appreciate when they do episodes like this where they take an old character like Ragon and do something new and unique with it. And boy was this episode super unique. It's so good. It's a standalone episode. It could have taken place at any point after episode 5, which means, guess what? No dynamic type, no agams, no nothing bogging it down. Of course it's gonna be perfect when you do that. No dynamic type, winning me over right there. And about that, it really shows that Taguchi is capturing the feeling of TDG unlike any other director. Sujimoto and everyone else like that, they do great jobs with their episodes. However, Taguchi is capturing that very standalone episode feel that a lot of the TDG shows have. The same can be found pretty much with episode 8 of Ultraman Trigger.
I don't really articulate it too well, so I'm going to explain it a little better with a voiceover. So basically the villain is very threatening and or the story holds a lot of weight, and it's all condensed into one episode where normally now it'd be stretched across multiple.
You watch DYNA, there's a lot of episodes like that, so it's super cool to have something like this in DECKER. Just kind of wish there was more of it. There was just so many good little details in this episode that just escalate it so much. Like the remixed song from Ultra Q, the screams added into the intro, the bullets just bouncing off Ragon, and DECKER's transformation with all the smoke and he sticks the thing out, and it's a shortened transformation too. It's so good! It's so good! It's just these little things that add on to it and make it just stand out.
It's also cool that they put Ragon on DECKER as a reference to DGON from DYNA, who was a reference to Ragon to begin with.
Lots of unique camera work in this episode with the human stuff, lots of fisheye, and you could tell there was maybe like wide angle lens when they're walking too. It's so good. Of course with Taguchi you're gonna get awesome cinematography of the monsters. Like the shot especially of Ragon in the hill. Just so awesome. The story was also just set up amazingly. So many twists and turns in it. It's really cool to have so much happen with the story in just one episode. I wish we had more of this. And overall the episode had a pretty good deeper theme of loneliness, with the old lady being all alone at that point. She just wanted to be with Ragon again. Just the way the episode handles that and ties it all together in the end is just wonderful. I love it. Taguchi always tends to take the more mature route with the message of the episodes. And of course I had to give this episode a 10 out of 10 because it gives us this beautiful picture of Ragon. He's so handsome. Episode 21. I wonder what score I'm gonna give it. It's not 10 out of 10. It's 11 out of 10. It is 11 out of 10. I gave it 0 out of 10. I'm allowed to give an 11 out of 10. You're probably thinking, oh, it's DYNA bias. Part of it, but it was also just an absolutely amazing episode. If DYNA wasn't in it, I'd still give it a 10 out of 10. First of all, the setup of the episode is just absolutely amazing. It poses a really interesting moral dilemma. Their use of the spheres to create energy makes perfect sense, and it makes sense why they would be using it to fight the spheres, because of course what else are they gonna do? They can't just sit around and watch. But of course there is also the issue, they're using the spheres, who knows what's gonna happen with that. It's just set up really well, and it makes just perfect sense why it would be happening. I also wish the show dived into this a lot more. Just the human side of fighting the spheres. Just besides Godzilla and Ultraman DECKER, how is everyone else reacting to the spheres? We've seen a few aliens here or there. What about citizens? here you go. This is what some of them are doing. I wish the show really dived into that a lot more. It would really make the spheres seem like a lot more imposing of a threat. And it would also make just a lot more sense because the entire world is closed off in a sphere barrier. Of course people are going to be freaking out. I feel like we didn't get enough of that. Geomons! This is Geomon's big episode and my god, is it incredible. Geomons is easily the best monster to come from this show. It is so incredibly cool. Well, I should say Sphere Geomons, because there was the one back in DYNA, which I of course love too. But this design is just, it's so good. It's such a good update of it. And the episode portrays him as an absolutely insane threat. Unstoppable. It's like a horrible disaster to the highest degree. There is nothing Guts can do to stop him, and the Spherosaurus that he also summons. It is like the worst possible outcome for humanity. It is portrayed incredibly. The amazing effects and Taguchi's great directing just really helps amplify that feeling. The Nurse Desi getting shot down and it slides across the ground, almost killing everyone. Oh my god, that was so awesome. And this episode gives us a proper long planning scene that just feels so believable. I really like the little origamis of the monsters they had in there. That was such a cool little detail. And we actually get to see them setting up this plane and getting it all ready instead of them just sitting in a room talking about it. We see the Nurse Desi getting fixed. We see them out on the field just setting everything up. I love it. And once the plane commences, Geomons actually attacks the pod, unlike Chimera in Trigger's finale. And when Agams shows up, even when he is right, his mention of Bazdo is still kind of crazy and insane, setting up the reveal of his hypocrisy next episode. The S-Plasma Nurse Cannon bouncing off Geomons and slicing a hole right through Spherosaurus is awesome. That they put a hole through Spherosaurus, first of all, and that it was a technical failure because they weren't able to kill Geomons. It's really not the outcome you expect. You either think they're gonna kill both of them or do neither of them. But they kill Spherosaurus. And the summoning of the next Spherosaurus really helps me understand the point of the monster. He's a replaceable asset from a larger army. He's still a pretty threatening monster, but he's rather disposable. And of course, the DYNA appearance was incredibly hype. You saw my reaction at the beginning of this video. I lost it. The recreated rise and transformation into strong type were such a nice little detail that they added. Speaking of little details, during the fight with DYNA and Geomons, you could see the little castle from the Geomons episode of DYNA in the background. We also get another sped up transformation of DECKER. Glad they're continuing that. And also the transformation is awesome as he knocks Terrafacer over as he transforms. And he goes right into Dynamic, because of course he would. Of course he's gonna go right into Dynamic. It's such an incredibly huge threat. Why wouldn't he? The fight is obviously incredible. The biggest thing is there's no form matching. DECKER is in Dynamic type the whole time. And DYNA obviously doesn't have a super form, so. And it was also nice to see a lot of cool DYNA abilities, especially the Ultra Fork with the fire coming up. That was so cool and so unexpected too. And of course the kill shot of Geomons is awesome. That beam was great. I wish the explosion looked a little different, but that's kind of nitpicking. But I'll still nitpick anyway. The only issues I really have with the episode is that Takeshi Tsuruno doesn't show up. Yeah, I wish Asuka at least would have spoke at the end there. And honestly, I wish more DYNA music played. The DYNA music they did play when he shows up is awesome and I loved that. I just wish maybe when Strong Type was fighting, instead of playing some sort of DECKER track, they would have played DYNA Strong's theme. That would have been so cool. And maybe they could have played DYNA's opening theme over the final fight. That would have been great too. Still 11 out of 10. Episode 22 is also obviously pretty good. It was nice to see Planet Bazdo in the opening. It's always nice to see those planets. However, in that opening they kill the dog first, so this episode gets a 0 out of 10. In this episode, we do finally get to see the hypocrisy of Agams. He blames Earth for everything, however, it is all technically still his fault for aiding Earth. Also in this episode, it is nice to see future DECKER and DYNA again, of course. We get to see DYNA Miracle, which wasn't in the last episode. Really, again, makes me wish that the future DECKER storyline was the main plot of the show, or maybe that it was more prominent within the show, but whatever. I also really like how they handled Chandler in this episode. First of all, him being controlled by Agams calls back to the professor. I was really worried they weren't going to bring her back at all in any sort of way, but they do, kinda here, so that's nice. Good to see they didn't forget about her. Also, Chandler breathing fire is a parallel to Pegula breathing ice breath. That's awesome. It was also nice seeing Guts Select take him out, showing that they have power and also continuing the trend of Chandler never fighting an Ultraman. The final fight of the episode had absolutely amazing visuals. The action was awesome, top notch. Just what you'd expect from Sugimoto. The caving in of the city was a nice surprise, and also that calls back to the underground space in episode 6 of DECKER. Which, I mean, Sugimoto directed both episodes, so it makes sense that he'd call back to it. And I'm so glad they did. And also the episode ends with the jerk finding out Kanata's identity. That was pretty unexpected and a nice twist. So in the end, episode 22 gets a 9 out of 10. And finally, Ultraman DECKER episode 23. This episode was guaranteed to be fire from the beginning, because Sugimoto said he watched Shin Ultraman right before directing it. He was quite inspired by it, so obviously it's gonna be good. Agam's brainwashing in the episode obviously calls back to Yapul's brainwashing in episode 18 and 19. This kind of gives those two episodes purpose, but at the same time it doesn't at all, because episode 18 and 19 did not have to happen at all in the way they did. There could have been way better options to show that the spheres can brainwash than using Yapul. It just makes absolutely no sense. It's like they just shoved that in those episodes just to kind of establish it. It was like they were bad, like, oh, we need to give this a purpose somehow, shove the spheres doing the memory thing in there. But it just makes those episodes even worse than they already were. The interrogation of Agams also sets up Mother Spherosaurus really well, and it was shot pretty darn good. And of course, Agam's insanity happens in this episode, and I think it was done really well. Him just losing it is paced really slow. It's like 30 seconds of him just going insane, and it's like the slow pacing really adds to it. It really builds up at just how much he's lost it. The fight with Gut Select against the spheres looked really good, which I was surprised about. Just amazing shots in the fight with DECKER. His transformation was beautiful. I loved the way that looked. Again, with these short transformations, I love it. And yeah, just lots of good shots during the fight. Lots of good action. The shot that's in the thumbnail, this one right here, absolutely beautiful. Seeing Naomeus get cut in half. So good. However, the Mother Spherosaurus appearance at the end was pretty underwhelming. It just happens so quick, it doesn't really give you time to build her up as absolutely horrifying. It's like, Trigger's there, he's like, oh, what's that? Mother Spherosaurus just pops out. He's like, oh my god, Space Godzilla! And then, cool shot. The shot was cool, but if that wasn't there, that whole appearance would have been really lame, and I kind of wish it was just done slower to build her up as just absolutely an insane threat. And also this episode reuses shots again, the spheres coming out of the portal. So in the end, DECKER episode 23 gets 8 out of 10. Again, this is easily the most positive DECKER video I'm ever gonna make, and it was great to have another month of just amazing Ultraman after so long of just not having it. This is the only DECKER video where every single episode got a good score. The only video where I liked every single episode. It's such a great feeling, and I really hope we get more of that this year. There's rumors Taguchi's directing Blazer, which is this supposed new Ultraman, and I am just so happy about that, obviously. And also these episodes had DYNA in them, which obviously I'm gonna be happy about that. So yeah, this has been Godzilla Productions TV. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Instagram and the Trunker Podcast, and I'll see you guys next time. 2 more videos after this, finally!